I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Ruffled Feathers. And that is because you could be experiencing a situation this week, even if you are not suspecting it at all. You could be experiencing a situation that is that you're a little cautious about, and that can you may be confronting people with hostile attitudes for one reason or another, and that could sort of ruffle your feathers as well. And if people react to that too quickly, that feeling of unease, it could create serious complications, and you don't want that. So this is a period of time when we've sort of got to weigh the good and the bad and sort of keep a good balance on that, so that we can remember that even if you have ruffled feathers about something and you're a little bit disturbed about something, that'll settle down. Or maybe if you just stay calm, it'll sort of go away. And so I hope you try to remember that this week. Because first of all, there are 4 really good planets in the expressive, creative air signs. And that means that there's a lot of people, including you, that can have really great ideas right now and very good intentions. And so that's a real plus. And that is because Mercury, the planet of the mind and of communication, is very early in the sign of Aquarius. But later on in the sign, and remember, Aquarius rules the future, later on in the sign, the sun itself is at 27 degrees of Aquarius today. It's getting ready to leave the sign, and it is conjuncting Saturn, the planet of time and of being very serious. And it is at 28 degrees of Aquarius. So the Sun and Saturn are in very close alignment in Aquarius, which rules not only the future, but it rules space and satellites and aviation and the internet and computers and music, electricity, and anything that goes through the air. And so this is a wonderful time, since the 3 planets in Aquarius are also trining Mars in Gemini. And Gemini rules easy transitional change and very good communication. So you really have all that going for you. These 4 planets are also trining the sign of Libra, which rules partnership and peace and negotiation and the law and all legal contracts. So you see, there's a lot of good possibility in things that could come about, particularly with people that have good ideas and really great intentions and good communication skills. So if that's you, you could form a pretty good partnership this week. Or you may be able to sign a nice contract. That would be great. And people would be able to understand each other well, because the communication would flow. So that doesn't sound like ruffled feathers, does it? No, that sounds wonderful. But there are other things going on. And one of the things, as people are making future plans, and of course that could be you as well, the one thing that people are not too sure about as they're making future plans is the money. And that is because, darn it, there are also 4 planets squaring each other in the fixed signs. Remember, fixed signs don't budge. And one of them involves Uranus in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed financial sign, and it rules investments, and Uranus rules Aquarius. And as I said, that sign is really doing well right now with Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn in it. But Uranus is squaring all 3 planets in Aquarius. So that makes 4 planets in fixed signs, indicating that future plans can be sort of up in the air, or they may not be completely agreeable or set, because people are not too sure about how much money is involved or how much the cost of something will be. And that is due to the fact that investments have been fluctuating in their value. And so these are somewhat uncertain economic times, and that could affect anybody's future plans. And so that could ruffle a few feathers. You know, if people are just set on getting something and they're not going to budge in any way, that's going to lead to ruffled feathers. And if they stick to harsh attitudes or hostile attitudes, it simply is going to make serious complications erupt. Well, we don't want that, do we? That's why I'm saying, if you're in a position where your feathers are getting a little bit ruffled and you don't quite know if you can count on something, why don't you just pause or calm down, or sort of let it go for a little while, come back to it later, and see if people's attitudes don't change, because they might. And so, if you just sort of take it a little bit easy right now, maybe you could get by a time when serious complications could arise, but perhaps they won't if you don't push it right now. Because to add to that is the fact that there are 4 more planets in the mutable signs, and they are in a harsh T-cross. They're all squaring and opposing each other. Now this is too bad, and this is actually where most of the ruffled feathers are coming from. Because mutable signs are really the opposite of fixed signs. Mutable signs are tolerant, they're flexible, they're easygoing, they like to examine everyone's point of view, and they like to consider a lot of different ideas. Only they're not doing that right now. And that's why a lot of people can have ruffled feathers, because the 4 mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And right now, we have the moon today in Sagittarius, which is a dynamic fire sign. But the moon is passive. And the moon sort of likes to just go along and be sort of agreeable and wait and see what happens. And so that moon in a fire sign could mean that our emotions could erupt rather easily. And so you don't want that. That's why you've got to be, if you get ruffled feathers, you've got to calm down a little bit, because you don't want a situation to get any worse. And that's why you need to back away from it if you can. But that moon in Sagittarius today is being opposed by a very aggressive planet, Mars in Gemini. And Gemini rules youth. Mars in Gemini rules gang warfare. And it also rules malicious gossip, or jealousy, or greed, or hate. And it's coming up against that gentle moon in Sagittarius. Oh, so these planets, which are opposing each other, are completely different in spirit, and they're sort of locking horns right now. So that's not too good. And then both Mars in Gemini and the moon in Sagittarius are squaring Venus and Neptune in Pisces. Both of them are doing that. And that's too bad, because Venus and Neptune in Pisces are exactly at the same degree. They are at the 24th degree today. And since they are exactly conjuncting, that can not only be very romantic, and that can be very pleasant. It means that people can sort of be in a mood to forgive and forget, or to be quite charitable to other people, give them the benefit of the doubt. So by itself, Venus and Neptune in Pisces are wonderful, particularly for things going on behind the scenes. So that would be great, only Mars is squaring both of them, and the moon is squaring both of them. And that means that people, even with tolerant attitudes, are getting ruffled feathers right now. I mean, things aren't going too well, or they're not going as expected. And so anybody, particularly people that are represented by those 4 wonderful planets in the air signs, the people with great ideas and good intentions, anybody, but particularly them, could be facing others with hostile attitudes right now, or who can be wanting to perpetuate malicious gossip or lies or deceptions, or they can just not be telling the whole truth, so they can be omitting things, omitting the truth. And that's why this is a time when, if you get your feathers ruffled for one reason or another, I urge you to employ caution. Just step back, or wait another day or two before you respond to something that you are troubled by, because hopefully the people with hostile attitudes will move on. Because you don't want your ruffled feathers to create a serious complication. Because have you ever looked at the birds? When the birds get their feathers ruffled, it's because of a strong wind blowing against them. But when the wind passes, then everything is fine. And the birds are okay. And we can be too. So I hope that you are willing to step back, or if you are not sure who you can count on right now, give it a little bit more time. And make sure that you are not being the protagonist. They say silence is golden. Well, if you employ extreme caution and you don't erupt, then you could really avoid people with hostile attitudes, or you could avoid a serious complication right now. And remember, some things are not in our control, and particularly the uncertain economic times. High debt, high inflation, high interest rates. That's pretty hard to live with too. So just try to be a bit more patient this week if you can. You'll be real glad that you are not going out on a limb, or not going too far, or you're not pushing things too hard. Because the ruffled feathers will pass, just like the wind does. It'll pass. And then you'll be able to keep going forward and maybe make your great ideas come true. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, you could be in a real hurry right now, Aries. And the reason why is that your sign has some support. Remember, first of all, it's got Jupiter in your sign. That means you can be very optimistic about things, and you can have a lot of great ideas and want to go forward. And you could probably succeed at that really well right now, Aries, because the moon is in Sagittarius, another fire sign, and it's trining Jupiter in your sign. And together those two planets are also trining the sign of Leo. So that energizes people who have planets in fire signs, because now there's two planets trining each other in fire signs, and there hasn't been for a while. But Aries, if you were sort of thinking that you wanted to sort of get up and go and get something done and do it all your own way, you probably could. But you would do a little better, or be a little bit more successful, if you also joined forces with perhaps a woman who's well educated, or who is from a foreign country, or who is interested in legal matters, or colleges and universities, international law, something like that, because the moon in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius rules all those things, that moon is trining Jupiter in your sign, so it's trining your sun. And that means that if you join forces with somebody, Aries, I know Aries sort of likes to do everything their own way. It's the sign of the pioneer, I can understand that. But you just might get farther right now if you had somebody else joining you that sort of shares your attitude, or shares the enthusiasm for your great ideas. So consider joining forces with somebody else if you can, Aries. I think it would really help you. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Well, remember I said that the thing that could lead to serious complications was the uncertainty about money, or the cost of something. And your sign is a fixed financial sign, and Uranus is there. And Uranus in your sign is squaring Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn in Aquarius. And so Uranus is squaring the sign it rules. It's been doing that for 5 years. It's got 2 more years left of doing that. So Taurus, I think that you can be uncertain about a financial affair, and you could be wondering if there's going to be enough money to do everything that you want according to your great ideas or your good intentions for the future. And you're sort of wondering, I'm not too certain how much things are going to cost, and I'm not too certain that the money's going to be there to pay for everything. Well, I think that that could ruffle your feathers, Taurus, but you have a powerful friend somewhere, and that is because Pluto is in Capricorn at the fateful 29th degree, and it is trining Uranus in your sign, so it's trining your sun. And it simply means you've got some pretty strong backup somewhere, and wherever that person is or whether that organization is, it can be involved with a large company, a corporation, government agency, or large institution of some kind. And whoever is you're involved with there, who could be the head of something, is in your corner, Taurus. And so as long as you don't let yourself get too bothered by an uncertain financial situation right now, I think even if your feathers are ruffled a little bit, it would be very wise of you to step back and let other people who could be perhaps more knowledgeable about what's going on today in the big picture, in other words, in big corporate plans or big government plans, if you could step back and let the people in power make the decisions and do what they have to do right now in order to stabilize future economic conditions, then you would be better off in the long run, Taurus. And that's why you really should not let anything that's bothering you now about a financial matter, don't let it get to you, because you've got some strong, knowledgeable help around somewhere. Only I think you've got to step back and let them do what they need to do first in order to help you, in order to ease your worry about the uncertainty of the cost of something or of how much money there is or whatever. So it isn't so much that you are personally being threatened. It is that there is a lot of uncertainty, I think, for you right now about your future plans and what they're going to cost. And I'm just saying, let wiser heads prevail, because they may know a little bit more about a situation, an overall situation, than you do. And so just remember, step back, be cautious, let something ride right now, Taurus, because I think if you're placing your trust in the powers that be, it's well placed and it will help you. So don't let anything get into a serious complication, because you don't need to do that. Even though yours is a fixed sign, you might be stepping over a line and creating more trouble than it's worth, so don't do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is the time, Gemini, when you can be filled with good ideas and great intentions, and you can be wanting to get out and communicate with people, and you could have a lot of energy for that, because Mars, the planet of energy, is in your sign and has been since last August. But in March, it will leave your sign. You may breathe a sigh of relief when that happens, because you may feel a sense of tremendous urgency about, moving forward on future plans, and you could be very uncertain about what other people are going to be doing, and therefore it's a little hard for you to make future plans if you're not sure about the plans of other people as well. I think we're all in the same boat as far as that goes. We can't all depend on the way things used to be, because the world is changing so much, and we really are in uncertain economic times. And these times, the high interest rate, the high inflation, the high debt, they're unsustainable. In other words, boy, does something have to change there. But on top of that, it's not something that you alone can solve, or me, or anybody else. And so try to, if you're getting ruffled feathers because you're impatient about something, Mars is a planet of impatience, try to somehow work off your excess energy in some sort of project that will create some sort of change just for you, but it will be change for the better. In other words, do something productive with your time. Because a long-range future plan for you, Gemini, looks like it is going to go through. But it may not be in your hands, completely in your hands. And that is because, yes, the good idea could be yours, and the good intentions could be yours, but actually Mercury, your own ruler, and the Sun, and Saturn in Aquarius are all trining your Sun. But those 3 planets in Aquarius are a real powerhouse trio of planets right now. And they all have something to do with the future. But Saturn is a slow planet. It means something has been sort of moving along at a slow pace. But I hope that people are not getting too upset by that. Because just because something is slow doesn't mean it isn't going to succeed. In fact, it might have a better chance of succeeding if all of our plans were approached with a little bit more caution and being very thorough and just taking one step at a time. And the reason why is not because you don't know what you're doing, for instance, Gemini, but you really can't count. Nobody knows exactly who they can count on right now. And so yours is a mutable sign, and there's a harsh T-cross in mutable signs right now. And so somewhere in your life, Gemini, things are not perfect. And I think that they're a little bit more out of your hands. And that's why I'm saying, take that frustration or that impatience that you might have right now and put it to good use by doing something that will make your life better. You know, if you've got a big job and you're just dreading it, now's the time to do it, Gemini. Because maybe by the time you get done, the ruffled feathers will be over, and you'll be able to go forward, and so will everybody else, and things will smooth out. So try to sort of quietly bide your time right now, Gemini, because Saturn is going to move up to the 29th degree in Aquarius, which rules the future, and trine your Sun. So some future plan that you have, I think, is going to sort of hit the mark. It is going to succeed. So try not to show anybody that you're worried about anything right now. Just go about your business and do what you can. Keep a smile on your face. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time, Cancer, when, you know, it might be a little hard for you to concentrate on the problems in the world, because you could be pretty happy behind the scenes, and that is, or content, or happily anticipating something pretty nice, because Venus and Neptune are exactly conjuncting each other in perfect alignment at the 24th degree of Pisces, and they are both trining your Sun. Lucky you. Because 24 is a number that reduces to 6. We reduce numbers by adding digits. 2 plus 4 equals 6. 6 is the number of Venus. It's the number of Libra. And Libra rules peace and partnership. And so there is the possibility that somewhat behind the scenes, you could be making friends with a new partner, or somebody could really appreciate the thoughtful things you do, because Cancers do very thoughtful things in a nurturing way. And someone could really appreciate you for that, Cancer. So I think that you are sort of living under some sort of ray of sunshine, or some sort of, you might be feeling sort of blessed. not in a outwardly lucky way, but in a inwardly satisfying way. Sort of like your feelings are probably not ruffled, and you're more sure of your feelings, or you're feeling more content about something, which is good. The cardinal signs are not as deeply affected as the other signs are with controversy or with meeting people who have hostile attitudes. I think that you are sort of out of that right now, Cancer. It isn't because the hostile attitudes aren't around. It's just I don't think you have your mind on that at all, which is good. So I think behind the scenes there is a reason for you to be rather happy right now. And if I were you, I'd stick to that and just enjoy it. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time, Leo, when you can sort of be getting your second wind. And the reason why is there are 2 planets in 2 different fire signs, and they are both trining your sun. This is very good because there hasn't been all-around support for fire signs. Jupiter has been in Aries trining your sun. That's wonderful for you making a new beginning. In fact, you should really be headed in that direction, Leo, and you should not waste a moment because Jupiter will only be in Aries trining your sun until May. So you should really get on a new beginning and make every day count. But now, today, the moon is in Sagittarius, and it too is trining your sun. And that is very good for the fact that you may want to take a long-distance trip. Well, that's fine. Sagittarius rules long-distance travel in foreign countries. Or it could be that people from other distant locations are coming to visit you. That would be great. Or it could simply be, Leo, that you sort of feel finally that the wind is at your back and you can sort of go forward and do things a little bit more your way. And I think you're absolutely right about that. It doesn't mean everything happens tomorrow, Leo, but it looks like it's moving forward. And if you are focused in on a new beginning, I think that there's somebody else around or a powerful organization that can aid you in that in one way or another, or support you in that in one way or another. So you should be out in the public eye a little bit more, Leo. And you should go around and visit people and leave your calling card. Let them know how they can reach you. And make contact with a lot of people right now. And just put your best foot forward. Because I think you do have the wind at your back. And these can be uncertain financial times. That's what's ruffling everybody's feathers. They may not know who or what to count on, and they may not know the final cost of something. But there's plenty of things that don't have anything to do with a person's bank account. In other words, each of us has to sort of get to work right now and, roll up our sleeves and sort of get going on something. And Leo, I don't know what you're waiting for. You should just go forward right now. Because first of all, I think you're going to get some help behind the scenes from somebody pretty important. And then the other thing is that as long as you're focused on a new beginning, it looks to me, as long as you keep your eye on the prize and keep going forward, it doesn't matter so much when you finish. It matters that you get off to a good start. And that is right about now. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. Well, Virgo, yours is a mutable sign. And it's the only mutable sign that doesn't have a planet in it. So guess what, Virgo? Your sign is getting hammered now by 4 other planets in mutable signs that are all squaring and opposing each other. And they're doing that to your sign, even though you don't have a planet in your sign. And so the moon in Sagittarius is squaring your sun today. Mars in Gemini is squaring your sun. It's been doing that since last August. But after next month, March, when it leaves, it won't be squaring your sun anymore. That will take some pressure off you, Virgo, which is good. And then, unfortunately, Venus, which is beautifully conjuncting Neptune today at the 24th degree of Pisces, is opposing your sun sign. And so, Virgo, I think that there are, you could have a great idea and you could have the best intentions, but I don't think you can get everybody on board to listen to you right now. And that's because there can be people around with ruffled feathers that don't have anything to do with what you want to do. It's just that they're sort of, uncertain, or they don't know who they can count on, or they're not focused on the things that you're focused on. And so since Virgo rules the whole healthcare field, I would say that there may be some problems going forward with something that has to do with the healthcare field. And certainly the high cost of living could be one of them, because the thing that can bring about serious complications from having ruffled feathers is due to the uncertainty about the cost of something, or if the money will really be there to cover the costs of everything. Whether the money will be there and then how much money will be there. That could be a giant unknown in your life right now, Virgo. And I think you just need to take one step at a time. Your sign is somewhat modest and very detail-oriented. And I think you should sort of focus on the details right now. I mean, you don't have to get the whole big picture. I don't think you can right now anyway. But if you focus on what you have to do and you get yourself organized, you might find out very soon, even within a week, that you're way ahead of the pack. So I would say tune everybody else out right now, Virgo, and just concentrate on a serious objective of your own. And it could be somewhat immediate. In other words, a lot of people have great ideas and future plans, but I think that if there's something that you have to do this month, concentrate on that. And, wrap some things up if you can. And that's enough for right now. I think you, in particular, are not too certain about who you can count on. And you may also be worried about other people with hostile attitudes that are spreading malicious gossip. You may feel you might be the target of that, and you could be. And so that's why you need to step back. And if you have ruffled feathers, just hide them. Don't let anybody know that. Just sort of keep your nose to the grindstone right now, Virgo, and let the world pass by. And keep an eye on some immediate goal of yours so that you can be really well organized and then ahead of the pack pretty soon. Okay, what does it mean to Libra? Libra. This is a time, Libra, when I think that you have great ideas and you have good intentions and you want to go forward with your future plans, and I think you can. And that is because even though there aren't any planets in your sign, Libra, your ruler, Venus, is being beautifully aspected because it is in perfect alignment and closely conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. So Libra, something in the background of your life should be going very well right now. And it would involve something loving. It could be something you want to do that you would love doing. It also could be that if you had some, secret feelings of affection for somebody, that could be going pretty well, because who knows? They might have the same thing for you. But also, Libra, you have wonderful support right now for your sign. And that is because Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn in Aquarius are trining your sign. And so is Mars and Gemini. That is 4 planets all trining your sun sign. 2 of them are malefic planets, and they aren't hurting you because they're trining your sign. And they aren't hurting each other either. They're cooperating with each other. So I would say that something that you have wanted for a very long time, Libra, it's really on your horizon. I don't know if it's falling in your lap. I don't think so. Saturn is not a planet that just lets things fall in people's laps. It's not a here today, gone tomorrow kind of planet. It's real solid. So something that you're well prepared for, that you already know how to do, that you would love to do, is probably coming your way. And it involves something that you're going to be doing in the future, but it is relying on past experience. See, Saturn has a lot to do with being well prepared. But it's in Aquarius, which is the sign of the future. So good luck, Libra. And if you have little feelings of ruffled feathers about anything, I would say forget them. They're not even worth thinking about. Because you're under such good aspects that you more or less just have to make sure that you are ready for something. Are you ready, Libra? Because you better be ready or get ready, because I think something that you want to do is really getting underway, or it will be getting underway. Remember, Saturn is coming up to the 29th degree of fate in Aquarius. And that's going to have a big effect on everybody's future. But since it's trining your sun, it's going to have a good effect. So congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Scorpio. Well, Scorpio, just like Cancer, you could be sort of enjoying a very pleasant, warm feeling of affection for someone or something that you would like to do. And that may be generated from something behind the scenes, even like a miracle message behind the scenes, because Pisces does rule miracles, and Venus and Neptune are exactly conjuncting today in Pisces, and they both trine your sun. And the new moon on February 20th is going to be in Pisces, also trining your sun. And that is an indication, Scorpio, that you are going to be able to make a delayed dream come true. Now, the only question is it your delayed dream, or is it that you'll have the ability to make somebody else's delayed dream come true? Or is it a little mixture of both? Well, the important thing is that I think it's going to happen. And that's coming up, Scorpio, which is very good for you. But at the same time, remember, there are 4 planets in fixed signs all squaring each other, indicating that if you have ruffled feathers about anything, it can be due to uncertain economic times or the fluctuation in the value of investments. And that is because Uranus in Taurus is opposing your sun sign, and Mercury, the sun, and Saturn in Aquarius are squaring your sun sign. And so I think some future plans of yours, or even the future plans of someone else, are sort of up in the air. And that may be giving you ruffled feathers for one reason or another. But don't let it degenerate to something that becomes a serious complication, Scorpio. You don't need to. Nobody needs to have a serious complication come out of uneasy feelings. We sort of need to let the uneasy feelings just fade away or work themselves out by themselves. And so, Scorpio, I'd stick to what's working well behind the scenes if I were you. I think it's pretty good, and I think it's going to get better. So if you are quietly working on something, or if you have a secret wish for one reason or another, I'd work a little harder on that too, Scorpio, because it looks like it could come true. And if there is something that's been delayed for a long time, that could finally happen. That could be coming up this month. So I would stick to that. And as far as financial problems that other people will want to talk to you about, I'd be a little bit too busy if I were you, Scorpio. I also think that there is no way you can solve their problems. So don't create a serious complication by getting involved in their problems. First of all, you didn't make the problems, they did. And you just need to sort of turn your back on something and just say, okay, enough. Solve your own problems and let it go. Because I think you've got something sort of delicious headed your way, Scorpio, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, the moon is in your sign today, which is wonderful. It can sort of broaden your outlook about things. Well, Sagittarians already have a broad outlook because, one, yours is a mutable sign, and it rules international organizations, and it rules people from foreign countries, and it rules higher education and four-year colleges and graduate schools, and it also rules the courts. And so, Sagittarians have the ability to, sort of explore all kinds of things. And they do love to travel, particularly long-distance travel. And so with the moon in your sign, you should be able to take advantage of the fact that Jupiter in Aries is trining that moon in your sign. And maybe you could be planning a trip. Or maybe you could be thinking about moving a little closer to water. The moon rules a water sign. And that would be good. That would be really good, Sagittarius. I hope you can do that. But on the other hand, you might have ruffled feathers because either you're not getting along with somebody, or they have a hostile attitude and they're trying to sort of thwart your plans right now. And that could really be true, Sagittarius, because Mars in Gemini is opposing that gentle moon in your sign. But remember, your sign has a lot of backup because Jupiter in Aries is trining it. And so you need to sort of follow your feelings. And the moon rules our feelings. And do what feels right to you, Sagittarius. And if somebody is coming along, because Mars is a very aggressive planet, and it rules malicious gossip, but it also rules gang warfare. Stay away from those people, Sagittarius. And also, it can rule jealousy, hate, and greed. And so, you really could come in contact with somebody that's got a very hostile attitude right now. And if you even think for one moment that you're around somebody like that, you got to get away from them, Sagittarius, because they don't have your best interest in mind at all. So, maybe you should go on a trip, or, just travel somewhere incognito, or just go on a long bike ride by yourself or something. Maybe that would be best for you. Because at the same time, relations cannot be running that smoothly with others behind the scenes, because Venus and Neptune, which are beautifully conjuncting in Pisces, are also squaring that moon in your sign. And so, do you see what I mean? I think there's people around you right now, Sagittarius, that do have ruffled feathers, and they wouldn't mind ruffling yours. And don't let them. You got Jupiter trining your sun. Take advantage of that. Jupiter is in Aries, rules new beginnings. Focus in on a new beginning you want to make, and leave it at that. Anything else, just walk away from. And just, particularly the hostile attitudes, just turn your back on them. But walk right toward a new beginning, Sagittarius, because it's looking real good for you. And that's the direction you should be going in, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, of summation. And it simply means that Pluto, which has been in your sign for years, is now at that fateful 29th degree in your sign. And it is trining Uranus and Taurus. You could have your mind on money, Capricorn. But I think the money, if there's any financial situation or any investment that you're thinking about right now, I think it's going to work out okay. Because, first of all the planets are direct, nothing's retrograde. And also that Uranus is trining that Pluto, which is a very good aspect. And you could even get some good news about money. And it could be money that had been around for a while, or held for you, or had been fluctuating, but it could be that it's fluctuating upward right now. And if you own something that's gone up in value, you really should sell it, Capricorn, give you more money. And so Or there can be an opportunity for you to make more money. And it can be through your investments, but it also could be from some sort of job situation that comes up that you're interested in. Most Capricorns do stick to a job, and they're good at working in bureaucracies. And for that reason, you may think about taking on, even if it's just a part-time job, you may think of taking on something where you already have the experience. I mean, so it's sort of a no-brainer. You could do it with your eyes closed. And it may fulfill an important function in one way or another. And so this is a time, Capricorn, since your sign in particular rules old age and retirement, and it rules long life, and it rules long-term security. This is a time when you should really be thinking down the road. And the reason why is that you're probably going to live long enough to go down that road. And the world is due for a big change. And that is because Pluto in your sign is going to go into Aquarius, the sign of the future. Well, Pluto was only discovered in 1930. There isn't a lot of history on Pluto. And it's a real slow mover anyway. And so we don't know the effect it will have in Aquarius. But it was very well positioned in Capricorn because Pluto rules Scorpio, and Pluto in your sign was sextiling Scorpio for years. And that represented the growth of big business and big government, and what you might call globalization. But we don't necessarily know how that's going to change when Pluto leaves your sign and goes into Aquarius. And so what I would do if I were you, Capricorn, is I wouldn't exactly leap into the future, but I would, if you're certain you're going to live a long time, which you probably are, you might want to make good use of your prior experience and bring in a little more money somehow. And just to make the budget stretch longer. And I think that's a good idea, because we could be on the verge of World War III. Seems to be looking like it's headed that way. And you know, it's always the people who just get up and go to work in the morning and do their job that sort of end up holding up the rest of the world. I mean, you know, you don't have to be a hero these days. You just have to be sincere and work hard and do your best. And Capricorns are very good at that. So you may be called back into service at some time in the future, Capricorn. But that's fine. You're going to live a long time anyway. Got to have something to do. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Aquarius. This is a time, Aquarius, when I would say that you can be having very serious thoughts about things. And you could be feeling that you are somewhat at a turning point in your life. And you would be absolutely right about that, Aquarius. You are. And that is because Saturn only comes into a person's sign once every 28 to 30 years. So there might be twice in a person's life when Saturn is in their sign. Once at the age of 28 to 30, when there generally is a change in a person's life, and possibly more responsibility that they take on. And then between 58 and 60, when perhaps the rewards come in for a lifetime of service. So that's twice that Saturn could be in a person's sun sign. And then the third time would be like in your late 80s or going into 90. And so this is a time when you can be pretty serious about something, because Saturn is coming up to the fateful 29th degree in your sign, Aquarius. It is being lit by the sun today. The sun is at 27 degrees and Saturn is at 28 degrees. The sun is conjuncting Saturn. That is very good. And so it can sort of lift you up right now, Aquarius. And it may help you shed some of the burdens you have been carrying on your shoulders, particularly in the last few years. that, maybe they're too much for you now. Maybe you're tired of it. And so you can get rid of those, Aquarius. The sun is conjuncting Saturn. That's good. There can be a better day in your future, Aquarius. It might not be here quite yet, and you may not be sure about a financial situation because of the fluctuation in the value of investments, or simply because these are very uncertain economic times. But that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that Saturn is leaving your sign. It's just going to hit that 29th degree of fate before it does that. And that's why I think you're at a turning point. You have got to decide what to offload because you've had enough of it, and what you want to do in your future. This is a very good time for you to be thinking about all that. What can you let go of, and what do you want to keep, or what do you want to do? Jupiter is in Aries, and it is sextiling your sun. Venus and Neptune are in Pisces, right ahead of your sun sign. And Mars in Gemini is trining your sun sign. There's more good going in your direction, Aquarius, than anything else. But so you need to wake up and think about everything and make some decisions. And I would say this is a critical time for you to be thinking about your future. Just say to yourself, okay, what do I wish for most? And if I were you, I'd go for that, Aquarius. Maybe it's time. Saturn is a planet of reward, but it can also be a planet of depression. And once Saturn leaves your sign, you could be right in line for some pretty nice happiness, Aquarius. So why don't you think about that? What would make me happy? Well, I think you could probably get a pretty good answer to that. Anybody could. And that's what you should be thinking of. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. Well, Pisces, now you could sort of be in seventh heaven right now. And that is because Venus is exactly conjuncting Neptune, your own ruler, in your sign. There could be a blessed event somewhere in your life, Pisces. You would be really happy about that. But also there could be some sublime peace coming into your heart somehow. And it could be because a wish comes true. It could be because somehow there is some miracle message that somebody has sent that you got, you understand it, and that could make you happy. Or it can be that you have had some sort of tremendous insight right now, sort of like a light that shows you a better future for yourself. And you could be very drawn to that. And it would have something to do with love, because Venus is conjuncting Neptune. Now, this is the only time in your life, Pisces, when Neptune's going to be in your sign. It's a slow mover. I mean, it's been there for years, and it's going to keep being there. But it is nearing the end of your sign. And I think that love is what makes the world go round. Love is what heals our pain. And love is what inspires us always to get up and look for something better in our lives. And it's always appreciating the rainbow that can be around. And so Pisces, this should be a time when you let happiness come into your heart. For one thing, you would have deserved it. Pisces don't always talk about their pain, but they sure have it. It's a double-bodied sign. It's the sign of the two fish. When the fish is going high, the Pisces aiming high. But when the fish is swimming down, then they can be seeking escape through things that they shouldn't be doing. Or they can be simply disappointed by a lot of things. You know, it's like broken dreams. Okay, but Pisces, you always have the ability to rise. To rise above any broken dream. And to just fly higher. And now is probably one of the best times in your life to do that. So congratulations. If you have love anywhere in your life, Pisces, cherish it because it's real. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show on our website, starborninstitute.org, or I'd be happy to send you the show every week on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock if you subscribe to it on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel, and I hope you tell your friends about that too, so that we can all get through a real up and down year. And particularly this week, if you get ruffled feathers and you're a little bit upset about something, don't do anything too much about that, because you do not want to create serious complications. And if you see anybody with a hostile attitude, walk the other way. You don't need that in your life. So anyway, thanks so much, and I will see you next week right here. Bye.